I think a lot of people are impatient when it comes to seeing results. And the reason why I want to make this video is because I recently just got done filming a check-in. I'm going to leave the name out, obviously, but she was making phenomenal progress. Like, as you can tell by the graph here, it's literally going down, 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 down. But then she was a bit upset because she wasn't making as fast of progress as she wanted to. And this is why I was like, okay, I have to make this video, because I think a lot of people have just like unrealistic expectations when it comes to just fitness in general. And I want you to think about it this way. Let's say specifically you're on a weight loss journey, you're trying to lose, whether it's 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever. Ask yourself this question: how long did it take you to gain that 50 pounds of fat or that 100 pounds of fat? Did it happen overnight? Did it happen in even like 2-3 months? Typically, no, right? Typically, most people who are overweight are most people who now are on a weight loss journey, right? Most of the fat that most people gain typically happens over years and decades. It's almost like a slow burn of just like poor habits day after day, eating slightly more calories than they burn, being slightly less active than they were prior, right? And then over time, the weight it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just overnight gain 50 pounds of fat. It's like you probably gain around 1 to 2 pounds per week or per month, right? And then in the span of like, again, years, decades, then you look at yourself in the mirror like, where did I let myself go? Or like, what was that point when I gained all this weight? And there wasn't that one specific point when you gain all that weight. It was just consistently poor habit after poor habit after poor habit, right? Eating more food, being less active, maybe not sleeping enough, maybe having higher stress levels, right? So it wasn't like a certain point when you gained all the weight, right? It was just like a slow burn of like all these things day after day, kind of compounding, unfortunately, towards the wrong direction, right? And the exact same thing happens when it comes to weight loss. You don't just wake up one morning 50 pounds lighter or 100 pounds lighter. It's, again, same thing with weight gain. It's a slow burn day after day. Instead of having these poor habits compound, now you're having these healthy habits compound of eating slightly less calories than you burn on a daily basis, consistently being in a calorie deficit, moving a bit more, moving your body more, sleeping a bit more, reducing your stress levels a bit more. And then day after day, week after week, month after month, and most importantly, year after year, you start to see some big noticeable changes, right? And so, again, when it comes to weight loss, ask yourself, how long did it take you to actually gain the weight? And then also, now that you're on a weight loss journey, why do you expect to lose all the weight that you gained, let's say, over the span of 10 years? Why do you expect to lose all that weight in the span of like 2 months, 3 months, right? And I know social media plays a big role in this, where you see all these people claim, like, oh, I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks, or I lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. What they don't show you is that, number one, that is not sustainable, obviously, right? And secondly, which is kind of like the scary part, where they gain all the weight back again, right? You may see all these crazy transformation pictures, whatever, but it's like they don't show you what happened to the person afterwards, because 9 times out of 10, what they went through was a super unsustainable approach where they maybe slashed their calories, maybe they had no food at all, right? And they dropped a bunch of weight, right? Which anyone can do, but that is not sustainable. You cannot sustainably keep losing 30 pounds in 3 weeks or 40 pounds in 4 weeks. Like, your body cannot do that, right? And on top of that, especially when you lose weight that quickly, not only are you, yes, sure, you're losing some body fat, but you're also losing a big amounts of muscle as well, which is what most people, like, you probably don't want that, right? It's like, I want to assume that you guys want to look nice and toned, right? As opposed to like looking almost like frail and skinny and like weak and like low energy, low libido. Like, no one wants that, right? We want to be able to like still look good, have high energy, high libido, high everything, while like looking nice and lean, right? And so again, this video is mainly there to kind of like reframe your mindset and almost just like reset your expectations when it comes to weight loss. So a successful weight loss journey would typically literally look something like this graph, where she's losing 1 to 2 pounds a week every single week. And I know, small picture in the micro, it's like, oh, 1 to 2 pounds a week, that's not a whole lot, right? Well, have a more of a longer term perspective. If you continue on losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, that is 50 to 100 pounds lost in a year. In a year. That is crazy. Like, if you told most people, like, hey, in a year, you're going to lose all this weight, like, yeah, they're going to sign up. They're going to 100% be like, heck yeah, like, yes, please, right? And so that is one thing. And now secondly as well, especially when it comes to this, Yes, the main goal is weight loss, but there are so many different ways that we can measure your progress, right? I say this all the time to you guys on the group calls, during your check-ins, but the normal scale is just one of the many ways we measure your progress. Some other ways is, how do your clothes fit? How do you feel? Like, do you feel more confident now? What are your energy levels like? What is your performance like in the gym? Do you feel stronger? Right? What is your sleep like? What are your daily habits like now? What are your eating habits like? Are you eating healthier now? Like I just listed 8-10 things there that we can also kind of keep track of and improve upon. So there's so many things that we can measure beyond just the norm on the scale, right? So don't just focus on this one specific thing, right? And I know a lot of people let this one small little stupid number dictate their mood for the rest of the day, which I find, typically, like, personally, I made that mistake as well, but now that I've kind of come beyond that, it's like, it sounds kind of silly, right? It's like you're letting this arbitrary number on the scale affect your mood for the day, and not even to mention, the number can definitely fluctuate daily as well, right? It's based on your stressors, maybe if you had a little too much to eat yesterday, or maybe you ate a bit too close towards bedtime and the food hasn't fully digested yet, or maybe you drank too much water, too little water, maybe you are a bit more stressed now, maybe you haven't gone to the bathroom yet, maybe you were clothes when you weighed yourself. So there's so many reasons why your weight can fluctuate as well. So the fact that you let the number on the scale affects you like that, now saying that out loud, right, sounds a bit silly, right? So make sure that we're keeping track of multiple things as opposed to just one. Is going to be really important, and just don't let those daily fluctuations affect you either, right? And like I said, losing weight at a rate of 2 pounds per week is actually ideal for long-term progress, right? Because rapid weight loss, like I said, can also lead to muscle loss, nutrient deficiencies, and a higher likelihood of regaining that weight back again, like I mentioned earlier with the example that I gave you. So what you're experiencing right now, if you're losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, is healthy, sustainable, and actually really good progress that will lead to not just changes, but lasting changes that you can actually sustain. Because think about it this way. If you go about it the slow way, right, despite it being slow, what you're going to be experiencing throughout that slow journey is that you're actually developing the habits that are necessary in order to sustain those results. You're not doing anything drastic that you know you can't sustain. What you're going through right now is something that you actually are living through right now, and you can actually sustain for the long term, right? Which is why I'm also so huge on making sure that we're building the habits, so you can actually sustain those results. The healthy habits of eating healthier, being in a calorie deficit, going on your daily walks, doing the workouts, having a good sleep hygiene, reducing your stress levels, journaling, all these things, so that now you can sustain those habits, which those habits now therefore have led you to losing that 50 pounds, right, over time. And now you can actually sustain that 50 pounds lost, as opposed to doing something super drastic where you're not eating carbs again, you're going on a juice cleanse, and you know deep down that's probably not something you can sustain for the long term, right? And I know I hate saying this, but patience ultimately is key. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon, and anything worth having in life takes time. Again, remember how long it took you in order for you to gain all that weight, so don't expect to lose all the weight in a fraction of the time. If it took you 10 years to gain all the weight, you should not be surprised that it takes you 10 years to lose all the weight. Now, of course, we can speed that process up, right, by making sure that we follow a good structured program, but give yourself some leeway on that, right? Like, it took you 10 years to gain all the weight. Don't expect to lose it in 10 weeks, for example, because that just sounds silly saying it out loud, right? So that is all that I have for you. Any questions regarding any of this, please let me know. But again, just know that if you're losing 1 or 2 pounds a week, you are doing awesome. You're doing great. Keep going. And I'll speak to you all soon. Peace.